Why does Mother Earth allow evil spirits to exist on this planet? All the dark entities, devil, evil, demons, why? Why are they still here with us? Why doesn't Mother Gaia just clean the surface of this planet? Why they exist? What is their function? That's what I'm going to be explaining in this video. And I will explain the idea of energy exchange. I will also tell you a little story to relate to this whole understanding, and I will explain why a battle with evil is just as absurd as fighting a war with a sewage system in your house. So let's start by discussing the idea of energy exchange. What is energy exchange? What are we exchanging? Like this exchange that exists in between people and other beings on the planet. What do we exchange with each other? Essentially, we exchange waste. I've explained this in a video called Capacity of Your Consciousness. How valuable are you for the planet? So if you haven't watched that, I suggest that you watch that video first. Then this whole thing will make much more sense to you. Here we'll start right away from the point where we stopped in that previous video, that energy, the pure sources of energy, are up there and the earth. So sun and earth, we take them as two main sources of pure energy, and like we can connect to those sources directly, or if we don't know how to do that, then our source of energy is whatever we collect on this horizontal plane. So when we collect energy from the people and things and beings and whatever living things on the planet, this whole process can be explained and described as the process of exchanging waste, exchanging product of the body or entity or tree or whatever else, where a body receives the pure energy from one of the sources or from both, then digests it somehow, and if unable to digest fully, most likely, gives the waste to the people or beings around. So this whole process of exchanging energy with people, I want you to realize that whenever you exchange with people, you exchange waste. So waste can be different. In different people have different type of waste. Maybe your waste is as beautiful as only pure love and light. Maybe that's all you produce, which is probably kind of hard, but who knows? Maybe you can do that already. But understanding that majority of the population of Earth currently are unable to produce pure light and pure love, so the product of their existence in most cases is fear, worry, anger, all kinds of these kind of like dirty, muddy emotions and thoughts and actions, also questionable in majority of cases. So that's what we exchange most of the time. And if there would not be some kind of system of regulating this whole exchange, we would have already be gone completely from the surface of Earth, because we are constantly poisoning each other by exchanging waste. So with this kind of exchange, if there would not be some kind of sewage system organized on the planet, we would have already, like, our lives would have been a lot shorter. We are already living short lives, but we would be losing our bodies much faster if there was not some kind of mechanism installed here. So here we are getting to the point. This mechanism that I'm talking about is what we call evil. or like dark entities, evil beings, and all that. I'll explain in detail later, but at least let's just get into the subject. This whole idea of if we do understand that Sophia consciousness ensures us everything is always right in this universe, there cannot be a mistake. So if there are evil entities, bad entities, dark, whatever, black magic, all that, because it needs to be there, it needs to be here. There is a reason for that. So our task is to understand the reason. And instead of fighting without understanding it fully, I suggest that we break it down and understand the mechanism according to which there are thought forms that we humans have created along our history, and these thought forms exist not in our 3D reality, but in most cases lower, in 2D, for example. And existence in 2D is something like what I've described as when I was talking about 2D versus 3D consciousness, and when I described this kind of consciousness where you exist in this black void all of the time. You exist, imagine just this dark emptiness, like cosmos, complete darkness around you all the time. You, as a two-dimensional being, one-dimensional being, you exist without a physical body. And in that dark space, the only thing that exists is light, like particles of light. So when we look at people from the point of perception of like one of those bad spirits, evil spirits, they do not see us as humans. They do not see our physical form. They do not see our physical reality the way we see it. What they do see is this endless field of darkness in which there are some small particles of light, like shining. And whenever they see something bright shining, they all run, fly towards that light, because like it's attractive for them. It has something for them to be interested in. So when we get this main understanding, those entities that we're fighting with, first, they don't have a physical form. Second, they live in space in which the only currency is light. So your brightness, how much you shine, will determine how many entities you will attract, how much attention you attract from in that space of darkness. They do not see you as a human. They see how much light you give out. So here is the key point. So how do I hide from these black entities? Should I stop shining, or should I like hide from them, like switch off the light? What do I do with them? And why are they even there? We'll get there. Here, one main point that I want to mention is that there are two ways of shining. You being an object which shines and attracts all this attention of all these low frequency beings and entities, you can be shining in one of two ways, as a sun or as a moon. What's the difference? Sun way of shining is the like when you are generating the light. That's one way of shining, where you're performing some work to generate the light. That's one way of shining. The other way of shining is the way of the moon, which does not generate the light. It only shines, reflects the light that's been already generated by the sun. So these two different ways of shining, essentially the difference between them is one is shining by doing something, the other one is shining by just being. The moon, just being. Sometimes light shines on it, sometimes it doesn't. She's just there. So these two ways of shining, it will matter later, but just keep it in mind. So for these entities, your light is an attraction. So they run towards you. And if your like level of mastery with your own light is not high enough, you will misunderstand what these entities are coming for and what they are trying to do when they approach you. Understand? This is what this whole purpose of this specific video is about. To explain why are they approaching you? What are they actually trying to do? Because if we take this first way of shining by generating light, when you are generating light, we can describe this process as what I called in the beginning, generating waste. You're being a sun. Instead of connecting to the real sun that already exists, you are being your own sun. So you are generating the energy, which you take the fuel from the clean, pure source, from here, from there, you take it, you do something with it to generate your own energy. So I'm sun, I'll generate. How do you generate? When does your body generate energy? When you are angry, when you are fearful, when you are resistant, when you got it, right? That's the only way you can shine as a sun, by resisting something, by taking pure energy and holding it and resisting other people's energy that they're throwing at you. So that's why they notice you, those beings in that dark space. When they notice you, you're shining like a sun. To them, it's clear signal that you are fighting with something. You are currently generating anger, fear, all these kinds of emotions, which you're generating them. You're unable to actually process the emotion, the feeling, the information, whatever. You're generating and you're throwing it at the people around you and so on. So what will happen if these entities will not come and suck that energy from you? You will throw it at the people around you. Basically you will damage people around you. You will poison people around you with this energy that you're generating, because you're the sun, you're shining. That whole idea. Now we're getting closer to this understanding. Why are those beings allowed to live on Earth? Why is Mother Gaia not removing them from the surface? Because they are serving as sanitary workers of the planet. I don't know, in English, do you call a wolf this way? But in Russian, we call a wolf a sanitary worker of the forest. Meaning that if there is a wolf in a forest, the population of rabbits and the wolf and the forest itself will stay healthy, because the wolf is removing the weakest of all the animals, including rabbits, for example. The wolf will catch all the weak ones, the ones who are need to be removed already, the ill, sick, whatever, damaged and weak ones. The wolf will remove from the forest, keeping the forest healthy that way. If there is no wolf in a forest, the forest will eventually die out, the living beings in there. So that idea, I don't know, that's how we call in Russian, sanitary worker of the forest. Same idea here. These beings, they are serving as sanitary workers of the planet. They are eating the waste of you people, When you are generating light and you think you're a sun, yeah, I know, I can, I'm ego, I'm all this, I can. When you do this, you resist something, you resist people, things, you resist evil. For example, you fight with evil. When you fight with evil, you generate resistance, you generate that anger, whatever, all these emotions, and so you actually attract more evil to you when you do that, because their work is to remove excess heat, excess energy, to keep the planet healthy. And this whole idea of fighting with evil, fighting with devil, and fighting with darkness, like I see that, like those announcements, let's fight with darkness. It's so absurd, because like if you're fighting, it means you're resisting something, so you're actually attracting more of them to you, and they are coming to you to help you. Actually, they see you're struggling, they see you're suffering, you're fighting with something, and the idea that by fighting with them you can win them, it's just so absurd. Because these entities, these beings, they feed off negative emotions. They feed off this energy. They cannot eat like sunlight or like Mother Earth's energy as we humans can. They don't have access to those pure sources of energy. Their only source of energy is our fear. That's what they eat. That's what, like, that's their food. So our anger, our all of these emotions is what they are designed to feed off. So when you fight with them, you give them actually more food. Are you getting it? How absurd is it to have a war with evil or with devil? It's just, gosh. So I hope that basic understanding we got. I'll explain in some more detail, but I want to give you a little story which will help you understand where this knowledge comes from, where I got this whole information, and hopefully it will also help you relate better to this whole concept. So 5 years ago, around 5 years ago, a little bit earlier in spring, I was told by my spiritual guides to come to Istanbul. They were like clear, Istanbul is the center. The new movement is going to start from there. It's going to be the center of the new wave. When it begins, you have to be there. Go there and wait. I was told, so that's what I did. I got my backpack and moved to Istanbul. As soon as I arrived to Istanbul, I was guided to a specific spot in the center of the city, where I met the reptilian beings, and Naga, you can call them, you can call her Shahmeran, from which I received a download of like very specific information right away on the first month of after my arrival to Istanbul. It happened. I received it, and as soon as I received, I was like, okay, this is so huge, like how do I use it, what do I do with it now? And I because there was so much, I thought I should write it down. I had no one around me to express it to. I had like minimal social contacts, maybe like 5 people in my life at that time. So what do I do with this information? With whom do I share? No social networks, no, like what do I do with it? So I decided to write it down to keep it. And I started writing it down. I realized that first I thought maybe it will be an article, but when I realized that it's like much longer, seems like it's gonna be more like a book. And so that's what I decided it to be. I hope my microphone is, my microphone is playing with me every time. changing the settings, so I hope it's not hurting your ears this time. So, uh, I started writing it down. I realized already by the amount of text that I was already gathering, I realized it's going to be like a book. So I was totally focused on just channeling this whole message. And it took me like around 2 weeks, maybe a little longer. And this 2 weeks, I was totally focused only on this work. And I was just writing day and night, sleeping a little, eating something, and writing all the time, then connecting it into one text. That moment was when the whole text was pretty much ready. I'm talking about the book that probably you've already heard or about, or maybe even read already. When it was almost done, there was like just a finishing chapter left. Like you have to, that closing chapter of the book, which makes the book look like a book. So I realized that I already received all the information, but I still need to write some closing part, chapter. And at that moment, the channel was just like, boom, closed completely, just like silence. And I was like, come on, there's just like it's all done. There just little piece left. Why? What is this? I was like, okay, all right, no problem. Maybe I'm just tired. I need to rest, take a little break, follow all of my own instructions from the book, like follow all those, like rest, clean up, do some tuning, hum, clean up all the sensors. And I did all of that. 1 day of silence, 2 days of silence, 3 days, nothing. And I was feeling like frustrated, unsure, like why did they stop? Because like I lost any contact. Like nobody's talking to me anymore. I was like, did I do something wrong? What happened? And I kept myself like pretty still and decided to rest, to take a break. And I thought that I will just entertain myself a bit if I will just maybe watch a movie. I haven't watched movies for like years. Why don't I just maybe watch something like soft or something funny, and it will allow me to completely switch off, forget about the book for a while. Then I will be fresh and renewed. So I was like, that's the solution. So what I do, I get myself all the snacks and I sit in front of this big TV that I had at that place where I was living. And I decided for some reason not to sit at the couch, like on the distance from TV. I decided to sit right on the floor, like maybe 1 meter away from the screen. And the screen is pretty big, and I'm sitting right like face to the screen. And I decide to find a movie, like maybe some of those festival movies. Maybe there's something independent movie from some Russian directors. I was like, sometimes they can be interesting and unusual, so entertaining. I was like, I should watch that. I search for one of those. I pick a random one. I started, and it looks like some really soft kind movie, like about some love story about like some young girl who lived somewhere like in 90s, and it's in Russia, and like something like should be all right. I'm watching. On the, like, just maybe like 10 minutes into the movie, they were like, it's a girl, she's like about to graduate from school, and she has this boyfriend, and they sometimes meet, and then this evening they get all together. There's this house where they're chatting, having some drinks, and then there is this TV, and they're watching something on the TV. It's like, it seems all like so like just a movie I'm watching. They're watching this TV, and the camera zooms on the screen of the TV that they're watching. So like their TV becomes my screen, which is like right in front of me. And there I see this scene in the movie that they're watching in the movie, where a Chechen soldier, if you know about the Chechen war in 90s, these terrorists, they were like creating chaos in that part of the Russia, and what they were doing, they were capturing Russian soldiers and forcing them to change religion. If the soldier refused to change his religion, these terrorists would slaughter the soldier and film it all on camera, like in full detail, the whole process. And they would broadcast those videos of sacrificed soldiers as a message to all other Russians of like, that's what we're gonna do to your soldiers. That was real story. That was happening actually in 90s. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew that that was happening in 90s. But in 90s, I was just a kid. So I did not witness those videos actually broadcasted. I never saw any of those recordings, but I did know that they existed. And in that movie, this genius director wanted to let us experience this atmosphere of 90s, of what these teenagers were watching on a TV set. So they actually put inside the movie, on that screen, they showed the real recording of that event. Like it's not a setup, real shooting with all the real emotions, events, everything in full detail, right in front of you on this huge screen. You're sitting like this, and you can see the soldier's eyes, the last words that one asks, the last words this one says, how he takes the knife, how he starts. I will not go into all the details, but and there is no way for me at that moment to turn away, because like if I would be sitting further, at least I could. But I'm sitting right in front of it, like with that screen in front of my face. So I feel like hypnotized by the eyes of this soldier, and by this whole mixture of these emotions, what that one is feeling, what this one is feeling, what like that whole process. So I'm watching, and I watched, and I felt it all, like with that sensitivity that I was at that moment tuned to, because I was tuning myself like this whole time. I'm tuning, be more sensitive, more, feel more. I tuned myself to such my maximum level, and at that maximum level, I see that, and I experience fully everything that the soldier experiences and everything that that other terrorist experiences. I feel all this mixture of emotions all at once, and this for me is just hard to describe. Like I try to give as little details as I can, not to push you away from the screen. So just trust me, experience was pretty weird. As soon as I was able to disconnect from this whole thing, I jumped up and ran away from this whole TV, switched it off. I tried to calm myself down. I couldn't, because like my whole body was like feeling it, was shaking, and it triggered so much in me. At that time, for those of you who've already watched my Göbekli Tepe video about like sacrificing, at that moment I had no idea about that. I have my own memories about being slaughtered, and I didn't know that at that moment. But when I saw that, it triggered so much in me, and that whole wave of, I just felt like I was shaking. I was like, I have no explanation for what I lived at that moment, like tears, shaking. I tried my best to calm myself down. Like I used all of my techniques, my own techniques from my own book to calm myself down. I was stable enough to, I decided, okay, I just leave that idea about the book. Like how could this be? Like I was like out of, like I haven't watched movies for years, and I decided to entertain myself. I choose, and the only movie I choose, the random movie I choose, is something like this, which totally stops me from any kind of like connection, from being able to continue writing, or it's just the shock that I feel like I will have to process for like weeks, maybe months. That's how terrified I was seeing that. That whole thing, like just imagine that soldier breathing, he's asking him like, are you sure you don't want to change your mind? And he answers, and he starts cutting, and it shows like how he's like cutting, and how that one is still breathing and talking through that throat while it's being cut, like that whole, like right to your face, and when you are not expecting it, it was shocking. So I come with this, I calm myself down. It takes me some time. I try to sleep. It doesn't help because like it's not leaving me. So I was like, okay, that I have a great idea of how to calm myself down. I will take a shower, and that's usually where you relax. The water is running and you can rest, right? So I enter the shower, the water is running, I'm feeling like all like relaxing, breathing, relaxing. And suddenly, from this side of this corner of the cabin, right, like I'm alone at the house. There's like nobody else in this whole apartment. I'm alone. Silence. Water is running from the wall from this side. Right from the wall, I hear a voice, like very strong, male, angry voice, shouting, "Don't you understand? We're gonna kill you." Like, voice. Just so you know, when I talk to my guides, usually I tell, like they're telling me things, they never communicate with me with a physical voice. Our communication is mostly telepathic, so I just know what they're saying. I do not hear voice, physical voice, in majority of cases, most of the time. But here it was a physical voice, like real man standing and yelling with like very angry, very powerful voice. "Don't you understand? We're gonna kill you." It's like, imagine living that just at you. And my first reaction was to open the door of the shower and to jump out and run. But as I opened the door, I realized, okay, that's how I'm gonna kill myself if I run now. Because like I'm wet, the floor, like there's soap on me, water, I'll just jump out, I'll just slip and I'll die right there. I realized that whatever is this being that's talking to me now, he does not have a physical form. So he does not actually have physical body. So his only weapon against me is my own fear. That's the only way he can harm me, is by scaring me enough so that I jump out of the shower and run into a wall, or just, so that's his only weapon, is my fear, to trigger my fear so that I harm myself. Yet this is the key I'm repeating several times. The only way these entities are able to harm you is by scaring you enough so that you run into a wall and that you harm yourself. So you do all the harm to yourself by yourself. All they do is that they trigger the fear. So when I realize that, I understand like I have control. I can breathe. I can finish my shower. If I do not have any emotion, he cannot connect to me. He cannot touch. He cannot affect me if I'm not reacting. He can yell as much as he wants, but I calm my breathing. I finish my shower. I step out and I feel that he's still around. I can feel that like this presence, and I feel that he's very angry. He's like around, he's walking with me around the house, and he's very, very angry. I can feel him, and I ask, what do you want? And he says, I'm trying to protect you. It's like, protect me? From what? Stop writing that book. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't understand. He says, if you publish that book, people will notice you. The moment they notice you, they will attack. And I was like, well, okay, nobody's gonna attack me. I'm not gonna announce my name there. I will just finish it and I'll just throw it online, and people will just get the information. It's useful instructions. They can just read the instruction. It can help a lot of people. And he said, like, I don't even need to put my name on it at that time. I felt like I can just like let it be there without my name, let people read it. And he says, no, the book is not gonna live without you stepping out. The book is not gonna live by itself. You have to speak up, you have to speak out, and when you do, people will notice you. When they notice your light, he said, like, when they notice, when you start shining, they will notice you and they will attack. They will not handle that light. They will attack, and with your sensitivity, you will be hurt so badly. You will not be able to endure. So then I said, teach me to endure. Teach me. And he said, no, you don't understand. It's going to be hurt, like it's going to be painful. It's going to be a lot of pain. You don't need that. Just take this book, just live it, enjoy it. It's yours. You've deserved that information. Use it, live it, hide, stay hidden. That was his. Stay hidden. And I was like, I don't see the point in doing that. I said, teach me. Teach me. You know everything about pain, obviously, from what you're doing here with me. All these games you're playing. You know everything about pain. Teach me. I want to know. I had to ask him 3 times. He kept asking for confirmation. I confirmed 3 times that I want to learn. And then he said, then you have to accept me as your one and only master, as a teacher, as you did with all your other teachers. When you accept someone as a teacher, you fully surrender your will. So you do not think by your own mind, you do everything I tell you. And you're going to go through a lot of pain, and you cannot change your mind. And I was like, okay, all right, but it's gonna hurt. Okay. I said, everything that's less than death is okay, so let's do it. The same day, my channel opened again, my information started coming. I got that finishing chapter of the book. Just within a day, I think I finished it all. Some friend told me about this Kindle publishing, that I can just publish it and I don't need to deal with any agencies or anyone. So I saved that book on Kindle 5 years ago, and for 5 years no one looked at this book. Not even once did anyone read this book for 5 years. I just saved it there. I threw it online on Amazon. It was there. It did not live without me until I started talking 2 months ago. So all this time, the book was there. I forgot about it. I just saved it online, forgot about it. And I was working with this teacher. You already guessed, I guess, who that teacher is. And he showed me the nature of reality in which he exists. He explained to me that in order to endure that level of pain while being as sensitive as I am, I have to become like him. He literally said, in order to fight with the beast, you have to become the beast. You have to understand the beast, how he thinks, what he feels. You have to know how he functions. You have to become him first. Means that you should learn to love pain. You should learn to feed from pain, eat pain, literally eat pain, eat fear, eat like these disgusting things like fear, anger, pain become your sources of energy. And at first I was like, what is this? How is this? What does it mean? But he explains like all the healers on the planet, they are part of the sewage system. Like if you're still wishing to be a healer or to connect to your guides, just so you know, we are, including me, are part of the planet's sewage system. Because I have now the ability to eat people's fears. What happens when you come with all the anger, all this, you don't know where to throw it at some, like at whom do I throw all these, I lived this happened to me, whatever, rape, incest, or betrayal, all loss, all this, I cannot process, it hurts so bad, this pain, incredible, you can't imagine, it's so bad. When such a person comes to a healer or to a devil, what healer does is that he keeps himself stable. He you throw all that, this is energy exchange. You throw all your anger, fear, pain at me. My task is to take it, to swallow it, to digest it, and to give you back love and light and pure energy. What that makes me? That makes me somebody who eats pain and fear and all the disgusting things that you can imagine that a human can produce. So that was the skill that I've been working on developing for the last 5 years. And for that, we had to go through all the levels of my own, like all the levels of depth of my own fears, all the levels of my own imagination, because every thought that I had ever thought, everything that I had ever imagined existed on that level. And I had to go through each one of them and eat all of the pain, all the fears, like take it, process it, take it, like not run from it, not hide, not throw at somebody else. Take it, digest it, turn it into love, turn it into light, turn it into like soft shining of a moon, not the sun shining brightly with resistance and boiling energy, but soft shining of the sun. That was this whole process of my learning. Like it took me 5 years. He never informed me how long it's gonna take. He just asked me to surrender my will and just do everything he says. And I did. And it was fun journey. But at the end, I realized the mechanism of these beings and how much strength and how much love for humanity you need to have to be someone like Lucifer. And the amount of work that he is doing for you people, eating your pain. Like, do you understand what eating pain means? It means taking your pain and experiencing it. I'm not like eating it with a spoon. You tell me about your most painful event in your life, experience, like the most, you tell me with all the details. My task is to stay open, like open my heart fully and receive all the pain that you're able to produce and throw at me. My task is to stay fully open, receive until you're done talking. When you're done, to take it, to transmute it, and give you back peace and acceptance and love. That process implies that I have to experience everything that you're describing, I have to feel it. If I don't feel it, how can I possibly transmute it? I cannot just imagine, okay, you were raped, no problem, I'll transmute it. I have to experience it fully. Everything, all the pain that you bring with you, even if you're not describing it verbally, you bring it in your field. When you come near me, I experience it all. And my task is not to reject you, not to say, enough, get out of here, you're crazy, weird, stupid, go. My task is to stay open, accept, allow, and say that you're fine, you're good. No problem with you. That was fine. And that is the work of a healer. That is the work of Lucifer. And I hope that after this video, you will forget the idea of fighting with him. And you'll learn to respect his work as being part of the sanitary system of the planet. Sewage pipe, to which everyone comes and throws their pain, worry, fears. And you just take it and process, and not just a sewage pipe, but a sewage plant, because digesting and working it into something beautiful. So some of the things that I can briefly at least go on the main topics about the nature of these beings is that the main key moment there is that they're digital. Their consciousness is digital. That's why I made the 2D video, for you, to help you understand what is the difference between 3D consciousness and 2D. 2D is digital, meaning that their whole existence is like a program written by like ones and zeros, and they are like, they live in that digital world, digital field, and they're very good with everything digital. That's the key. Like everything that is information, they're really good with it, because like they don't have physical body, but they have access to that. So that's how they are able to access you people, and me including too. They access us through this field of information. They find for weak spots in the field, like in your thoughts, in your emotions. They're able to find even little tiny like weak point, like some thought that you had like 10 years ago. There was like one idea, they can find it and they can use it as a hook to work through that. And like, once again, their intention is what you call evil, is actually like, if you have that thought in your head, it's a potential risk that one day you will actually focus on that thought, you'll create that reality. If that's some bad thought or bad idea, oh, what if that happens? You thought once, it's recorded somewhere in the field, and they are able to access that information. So what they do, for example, the funny part of the lessons was that to notice how good they are with anything digital, like all the equipment, like computers, phones, and all that. They play with that so easily. They can send emails, they can send messages like from your name. That those things are so they is so easily they can find programs on TV, which ones there are right now aligning with the last thought that you had in your mind, in a similar way that this modern programs work online. When you say a word near your phone, then it gives you all the related content. That's how their consciousness works as well. They find something in your consciousness, some hook, and then they find things related, connected. So if you've ever experienced like messages going off from your phone without you actually sending them, those kind of things that they played with, and the cure for like, oh my god, they can do things like that, the cure is the only cure is to learn to be so aligned with your center, with like having no, not like second option, like not having two truths. For example, when I would try to date, for example, like 2 or 3 guys at the same time, like flirt with different people at the same time. So basically, if I flirt with 3 guys at the same time, I have like 3 truths, right? So that's kind of things that they can play with, these entities, because they're like, you're split into 3 truths. So you cannot tell to this one what you told to that one. Like this one asks, where are you? You have to avoid the replying. And like that makes like, you're not fully centered in the moment, not fully centered in one you. And they catch you on that. They've done like weird things. They've sent to messages to them. Gosh. So yeah, they can play with that easily. And the only cure to that is to have only one truth. Either like you can just really be truthful and honest and be focusing, for example, dating one man, or you can be dating like 100 men, but you tell truth to all of them. That's kind of harder technically. You can suppose they will have opinions and stuff you'll have to deal with, but the idea, if you can do it, stay centered and just have one truth for all, as many as you can have, as many as you can handle. But the idea, that's when they cannot do anything against you, when you do not have the hidden secret somewhere in the back of your phone or something. If you have, that's when during this game and my training period, they've taught me not to have any getting hotter, any double standards, double truths. So that's one way. And understand that in this case, when they're doing these disgusting things, oh, they're searching for, actually they are like protecting you from you. And they're not, their aim is not to harm you, destroy your life. They're actually teaching you to be aligned with yourself, to be real, to be true. Until you learn that, well, I guess you deserve whatever they do to you. So that's one thing, digital nature. And by this digital nature also we can connect it to this whole idea of our thoughts and our imagination, because this is the most powerful tool that we humans have, and that these beings do not have, is ability to create something with, like, by imagining it. So we imagine something and it already exists. So this creative imagination is our special thing about being human. And these beings, they cannot imagine things. They cannot be human in that way, like imagining worlds. But they are digital. They can access our imagination. So how they do it, they can actually tell you, imagine that, imagine that. Imagine, what if he does that? Imagine if she does that. Imagine if they already did this. Imagine, what if imagine. They can suggest you what to imagine. Take note. That's from that point, it's really important to have like really, really good level of self-awareness and mindfulness, being able to determine which emotions are yours, which thoughts are yours, and which are not. It took me years. It took me years until I finally learned to like these first years, we were just processing all of my emotions. So he was putting me through all kinds of situations, like all the possible, the worst things that I could have ever imagined. I had to live, and I had to just stay there, go through it, and then get the lesson one by one, and until we like cleaned all of my emotional field. It took almost 5 years cleaning that, 4.5. And so on like this last year, I finally got to the stage where I was able to live like long periods without any emotion at all. Like, I was working, I was actually teaching students, I would have like people coming to me telling their issues, and I was helping people, and I was able to actually listen to like the terrible, terrible emotional stuff, and I was able to stay absolutely like emotionless, not feeling any emotion, no matter what is being thrown at me. Once I learned like to stay, that was possible only when I cleaned, like really cleansed all of my emotional field. I lived every single fear that I had. I lived it in full like experience. When I lived, I came to a stage where I live days and weeks without experiencing even one emotion and without having even one thought. That was the key accomplishment, to live long times without any thoughts. So I go about my day, I do things, I can eat, cook, meet people, work, I do things, but there is not even one single thought in my head. When I reached that level, that's when I started noticing how they actually implant thoughts into my mind. Like, I know it, my mind is empty. My emotional field is pure, clean, nothing, empty, empty. And then I go to bed, and in the middle of the night, like 3:30, I wake up from some dream. In dream, I'm being suggested to feel ashamed for something. I know, like ashamed for some sexual desire, for example, or guilty about like whatever, like something about like related to children or my parents, or there would be like some kind of like emotion suggested in the dream. And it was easy to determine, like, that's, oh, it's a dream, they're doing this again. And I'm like, right away, what are you doing? They're like, oh, just testing, just checking checking you. And at that level, like they first they tried to go through the dreams. When you already do not react even from the dreams, real emotional dreams, you wake up and you're like, I'm not gonna think about it. No, I'm not gonna imagine. They're like, imagine if he didn't. I'm not gonna imagine. I am the boss of my imagination. My imagination is pure. There's like, I will choose what to imagine. You're not gonna suggest. When you draw that border, but it requires some skill. And then the next level is when you notice, like when you live with empty mind, no thoughts, you do notice when the thought is implanted. Or like I can be just sitting looking, I don't know, like at the sky, and a thought appears. You know, maybe they are, just a thought appears. Like, it's so clear easily when your mind is empty, it's so easily observable that a thought has been implanted. It's like, I did not generate this thought. Absolutely, I'm clear. It was put. And when you feel how it's been put, it's so easily to just remove it. I'm not gonna think this thought. I choose not to think this thought. It's a skill. So when you reach that level of awareness, and you have the skill to actually choose your thoughts and choose your emotions, then you are ready to actually deal with some real concepts. Because until then, like when I listen to all these people who are just first year in their like studies of awareness, and they tell me that they control thoughts or emotions, like, the price is much, much, much higher, people. It's not just like imaginary thing. You try 2 times to meditate and it just works. No, I actually had to go like these years through all the depth like of the pain that I'm able to imagine. He made me live it all. And I'm grateful to him because now I'm free from that imagination. And there was like his lessons would be like he would put me to situations and he would bring people to teach me things, like to interact with me so that I can learn a lesson. It's a long like years it took me, so I basically cannot explain this whole thing in one video. But there was a few examples. For example, like year ago in summer, I remember sitting in a cafe, and just like the windows were open and there was a bee just flew in, and she's like flying around these flowers and all. And I see the bee, and my guides are pointing at the bee saying, "Bee." I'm like, all right, that's a bee, I get it. And they keep pointing saying bee. I'm like, my guides are the best guides in the world, you understand, what are they trying to say? And then they point again and they say, "Be the bee." I was like, okay, be the bee. All right. Now, how do I do that? How do I be the bee? I was like, okay, whatever. These guides are like, I have to always like guess and solve these puzzles. So I just left it. They were at that time they were teaching me a lesson of that pain is something that like I'm creating, that pain doesn't actually exist, and you're creating it, like you're so powerful, you're able to create any kind of pain, imaginary pain, you make it real. And I was like, no, still, like there is real pain, I feel it. And they tell me, they give me this message to get first they give me the sentence, "Trust the doctor, be the honey." I was like, one more, beautiful. I said, like, what do I do with these sentences? They're like, "Trust the doctor, be the honey." Okay, whatever. And then they tell me to get an appointment from a dentist to fix some tooth that was left from some previous, like we needed to refresh the topping because the nerve in the tooth was already removed, and actually the tooth itself is dead, but we needed to like refresh the whatever the covering. And so I got that appointment. They guided me, like, you have to go on that day. I'm like, okay, I got that appointment. I'm there in this doctor's office, dentist's office, and he starts doing, he knows the tooth, and he knows this the case, and he's working. And I start feeling this terrible, incredible pain, like when like, and I was like, I stop him. No, you should give me, I don't know, something. It hurts. And he looks at me like, it cannot possibly hurt. There's no nerve in there. The tooth is dead. There's no nerve. You cannot be feeling this when he touches something there with the needle. And he takes all this equipment to take a shot, and from this side, from that side, from all sides, to show like, look, there is like nothing. Other doctors come to look. There is nothing. There is no nerve. You cannot possibly feel what you're describing. But I keep feeling. He keeps doing it, and I keep feeling, and I'm like panicking, and he gets angry, like, when you're moving, I can't work, and it's just in your mind. And I try to like argue with the doctor, like, what do you mean it's in my mind? It's you're doing this. And then I remember the words that my guides told me: "Trust the doctor, be the honey." I was like, okay, were they talking about this? I'm supposed to trust the doctor. They were telling me that I'm creating the pain. And when he actually showed me tooth in which there is like no nerve, and when he touches the surface, I'm not supposed to feel, but I feel like in full color. So it's like, okay, this is another lesson. I'm supposed to learn to control this level of feeling, because I'm creating that pain. It's like your body is not real. This is not all real. You're creating pain. This is a perfect example of how you're creating pain where there's not even a nerve there, but you're creating. See, like this is how unreal this reality actually is, but and how powerful you are that you're able to create pain even where it's not possible. Just because you think it should be there makes it real. And when I decide, okay, I'll decide that it should not be there. I decide no more pain. Listen from the dentist. Trust the doctor. He knows what he's doing. He's trying to do you something good. Okay? His intention is not to harm you. So that whole lesson about the doctor is also about the evil, about the anyone you consider to be bad or evil or devilish or whatever, understanding that they are actually trying to do something good. And whatever makes it painful for you is your powerful imagination. You're able to turn anything into anything. Even empty spot you can turn into pain if you wish. Just to understand how powerful you are. And that second part about like be the honey was about this idea about the bee. Be the bee. I was like, okay, I'm not getting it. Then they told me be the honey. So this whole concept of being the honey, we were going back to the first idea of energy exchange. And when you're interacting with people, if you're like if you're a Lucifer, or if you're a healer, or if you're someone who wants to learn to, if you share something with people, let it be light, let it be love, let it be honey, sweetness. It's like, wow, because like every being has a product, whatever, or whatever waste of their body, and the waste of a bee is honey. And that's what they try to show me, like be like the bee. The waste of the bee's body is mostly sweet, is mostly honey. Why don't you be like her? Why don't you be like the bee? So that your any waste that you produce tastes sweet. For that, you must learn to be the sweetness itself. You must be able, like this mechanism of whatever life throws at you, to turn it into sweetness, to turn it into softness, to turn it into love, light. You get it, right? So this be the honey, be out of all the beings who produce whatever on this earth, we humans produce the most amount of waste and dirt, energetic, emotional, and so on. And these beings who are eating our waste, our shit, basically our fear, our pain, I would suggest that we learn to be grateful to them for their work, for their existence. Stop fighting with them, because fighting with them actually only gives them more food, just makes them grow. Same for those who try to fight with me in comments. When you fight with me, you feed me. I eat pain, I eat fear, I eat anger. When you fight with me, you help me grow. So don't waste your energy on me. And so this idea of learning to be thankful to them, that's one part. And for those who are struggling with all these dark entities attacking you, bad spells, whatever, dark magic, black magic, whatever you call it, understanding that nobody or nothing can possibly influence you unless you give your agreement, your permission. It's not like you have to accept it. You have to give them permission. Any black magic or something, it works only if you accept it. Only if you interact with it. Same as with that, like if they scare you, if they get the emotional reaction, you are on the hook. If you do not give any reaction, They have no possible access to attach to you. So without your agreement, no one can possibly. If you're giving that agreement consciously or unconsciously, that's another question. You need to work with self-awareness and mindfulness and all that. But blaming those beings, those things that are attacking you, is just means that you just don't know your own potential, that you actually have a lot of potential that you're not even aware of. Those who wrote me about the black magic being done to them, it means that you, in that dark void, you are very visible. You're attracting attention of these people, all these witchcraft doing people, all these dark magic, black magic, whatever, people, evil, devils. You're attracting them just because you don't realize how powerful of a generator you are. You're generating a lot, you're shining in that darkness like a big burning sun, and they come to eat that excess energy from you. So you're like, your first task is to understand your own power and to own it. If they're coming to you, it means you have something for them to eat, and realize that you are stronger than you realize, stronger than you know. So your task is to accept your power and own it. If they come to eat something from you, you have something eatable. Just own it, and get on top of the situation. And when they come, those little beings coming, attacking you, wanting some attention from you, they come to you. So be the boss, be the owner of the situation. Tell them what to do. Tell them when they can be around you, when they can't. They will listen to you. If you know your own power, they know your power. That's where they're coming. You need to know your power and understand if they're coming, it's because they need something from you. Unless you actually ask them. If you needed something from them, you ask, then blame yourself. But if you didn't ask and they're attacking, it means you have something, you have power. You have to take that level, take that control, and rule. Tell them what to do, who should shut up, who should go, who should come, who should bring you some information, because they're powerful in terms of finding information also, these little things even. And you can take them as like those little like pets or something, because they're not actually that dangerous. They do not have access to 3D to affect you. They can only suggest you like fearful thoughts, and knowing that your power of imagination is your strongest weapon or strongest skill in this human life. And that's like all these little creatures and devil himself envy you for this ability, that you can actually create anything you want. You can actually imagine things and make them real. Before a chair exists, somebody imagined that chair first, then a few steps later it's a real chair. But imagination is everything, and you have a right for anything that you are able to imagine. Know this is a key moment, because that side, the devil, will try to trick you and slip you some little, like something similar but less than what you wanted. Your right is to never accept anything less than what you imagined, because they will try to trick you, give you something slightly different, little bit like similar. Oh, does this look like that? Take it. And if you're stupid enough, you'll accept, and then you'll suffer for the rest of your life that you agreed to less. But your right is to refuse anything less than what you asked for. Your right is to demand from the universe, from the world, from the creation, whatever you imagine. Be patient enough, wait for it, and they must deliver. They will give it to you, if you have the patience to wait, and if you do not agree for anything less. So, know yourself and know what you want. And I hope this video was useful.